So, Atleti won. Arsenal won. Weren't pretty, not compared to the night before. However, we're still in the race. We are one game away, and you will be there, Kenny Kem, 1972. On Insta, sorry guys, I'm millering my food. Sorry. You'll be at the next leg.
Well, ticket permitting, because the other day I've got to go on a ballot, and if the
for the second leg you'll be there.
Oh yeah, second of course I'm gonna be there, but that I've already bought my ticket. But I think we, you know, I actually thought that you were talking about Budapest. That was going to be Budapest. But the thing is,
you check the flight details.
Yeah, it's loads of.
There's so many different routes you can take.
I don't know. I'd rather take the direct route to get me there, but it's going to cost a fortune.
Kenny's got big pockets.
No, I haven't got big pockets. But the thing about it is, in terms of going to Budapest, there's loads of things you've got to do. First and foremost, you've got to get. I'm definitely going to go on a ballot, and I'm sure priority will be given to people who've been to many European away games. So that being a situation, then you've got the travel. Of course, you're going to have a hotel because it's all the way in Eastern Europe. And so, but the thing about it is that talking the game itself, one thing I would say, it was like both managers seem to be very happy with the result, because I think what it was is that it was like a game in stages. It was like a game in chapters. Like they showed their intentions by trying to hit us on the counter attack, but one thing I noticed in the first half, they kept on stepping off, and then that gave us more encouragement, which means Odegaard can get on the ball a bit more. Madueke had a lot of space working. Martinelli, had his few of his chances, and Victor, they were letting Victor run at them, and I thought we were on top. I really thought we were on top. I thought, you know what, this is just reminiscent of how we played in Europe early in the season. We played a lot of confidence, we played with a lot of energy, and we looked like, like the team that we could.
Different teams at the Prem, right?
I thought the way we were playing for that 40 minutes, I thought, you know what, we can win this 2 or 3-0, because that's how well we were playing. Like Odegaard got on the ball, he's finding little space. Madueke was beating his man, he's putting good crosses in. Victor was, was roughing up their defenders. I thought Declan Rice
laid it on the plate for Odegaard as well.
I thought Declan Rice was absolutely brilliant. He rode the danger, and they hit. He basically kept them at bay when they were trying to get ball in the counter attack. And I thought, hang on, this isn't the Atletico Madrid that plays a high tempo. I thought Atletico Madrid were very passive. Then we got the penalty. It was a penalty, but you don't really like to see those sort of things given, because at the end of the day,
what, Gyökeres?
Yeah, because Gyökeres gets in front of the player.
Ziggy did well for that, by the way.
Yeah, but I think
he looked over his shoulder and then he passed it off.
But we were aggressive. Alvarez got caught in possession, and then we managed to make that move. And then obviously Zumaré put the ball for Gyökeres, and what Gyökeres did really well, he got his body in front of the defender. And it was a case of, foul me, please foul me, and Hanko obliged. Decent penalty, loads of power, and I thought, you know what, I thought 1-0 was fair enough, and I thought, you know what, we're going to go in the second half, and that we're going to go and just win maybe by get another 2-3-0 lead. But you know what Atletico did is that Atletico up the tempo. They got in our faces. Lookman was on the ball a bit more. I thought Alvarez, was holding up the ball and running. But where they got a foothold in the game, they got control of the game. So when Griezmann turned up, he didn't turn up in the first half. He started to turn up, and playing Llorente at right, further up the field, getting Le Monde on. But I think they played a bit better. And then we went in our bad old ways. And then because we were getting to our bad old ways, Mikel Arteta played his hands. Took off Martin Odegaard, who was absolutely fuming, by the way. Did you see his face? He was fuming when he got taken off. And then obviously...
he should be as well. You don't want to get subbed.
Yeah, not at all, because I was thinking, that's a bit harsh, but I think what Mikel Arteta did is that Martin Odegaard, Madueke are great when teams step off us and allow us to have control of the ball and have possession. But when teams get in our faces, he knows that Martin Odegaard isn't press resistant anymore. He knows that he hasn't got the energy to get in their face and press them. And he knows that Madueke will give the ball away. So all the players that he thought would give the ball away, he got rid of. So Victor Gyökeres, now they're getting in their faces. Now they're getting close to Victor Gyökeres. He knows that his first touch got him off. Madueke got him off. Martinelli, who he doesn't trust, off. So all the players he didn't trust, he reacted, and in some instances probably overreacted to the fact that they were getting a foot alone in the game. And I thought we were lucky holding on, because I thought there was a good chance from a good friend Lutman. He should have got a couple today. There was one time when Benjamin White was his usual clumsy self, and Raya made a couple of good saves, and there was even one where, even in injury time, when Raya tipped over the bar, but the referee didn't give it. But when you think about that, we still should have won. We still could have won the game, because we've got to talk about the penalty incident with Eza. Because don't get me wrong, they were on top, but the game kind of changed when Alvarez went off with a knock, and they brought on Buena. Buena isn't an Alvarez. He isn't direct. So basically, what's happened is that because they didn't have that outlet of pace and directness, and probably Griezmann was tied, he's 35, they started retreating and said, you know what, we're going to hold what we got and take it to London next week. That encouraged their players to get further up the field. Eze, great substitution, because what Eze does, he's got more skill than Odegaard. He does try to beat his man. He does try to make something out of nothing that isn't there, whilst Odegaard would pass and try and play the lob pass. He's a bit predictable, whilst Eze's unpredictable. But saying that, that's a foul, because when I first looked at it, I thought, right, Eze's won the ball. Hanko's got his foot. He's gone down. Doesn't matter whether it's soft or not. He's gone down. So I was astonished. But for 5 minutes, I was thinking, there's no way VAR are going to overturn this. So when he went to the monitor, I looked at it and I thought, well, he still touched him. So when the referee just went, no, I was thinking, are you having a laugh? But then again, 60,000 Madristas, Simeone and his coaching staff refereeing the game. What do you expect? And I think we got to use this injustice next week as a bit of impetus, because there were some good things we did, but what we did when they got on the ball and they started pressing us and started up the tempo, we went into our bad old ways. And that's the thing. We still got these vulnerabilities when teams up the tempo. Sunday's going to be no different. Fulham are going to probably play that Atletico up the tempo a bit, and that's when certain players are no good to us, and that's a bit of a shame, because when we're on top, Gyökeres played all right. I thought Madueke played well. I thought Odegaard was looking good, but Mikel Arteta knows these players inside out. He knows who to trust when teams come at us. He knows that with Eze, because Eze has got quick feet, can get us out of trouble. He played him. He knows Trossard has a bit more up there than Martinelli, although Martinelli's more explosive. He knows he can trust him. And then Benjamin White, to be honest, the minute Atletico Madrid got a football in the game, I would have got my square on a lot earlier. And I think the situation is that further down the line, he's got to look at the Benjamin White situation and said, mate, I can't trust you, mate, because even in the first half, the same things that annoy me about Benjamin White were prevalent. The amount of times Saliba had to go and help him out at the right back, and when Saliba's at the centre half situation, did you notice that Saliba was getting caught in possession? Because he got himself in no man's land. He was getting robbed, and that's how they started a bit of their attacks. So Mendy was getting those bad habits as well, where he was getting robbed. Even Declan was getting robbed. That's how you play against us. We've got to find a way in these next, Premiership games and obviously a second leg to try and be more press resistant, because that's where I think we're going to struggle in games where we're not press resistant. Because when we get pressed, we're very vulnerable. But thank God for David Raya. He's still like one of the best goalkeepers in the world. And like he's gold. He's absolutely gold. Without him, especially when we've been playing really, really bad, I think we're on the, probably due for a few thrashings. So there are a lot of good things today I liked. But second leg, more the same, but take your chances because once again, when you think about chances created, was there many chances created? Did Black have many saves to make? I beg to differ. Our goal
One
today,
shot on target.
our goal today was a penalty. So if we want to get to the Champions League final and we want to sort of like win our remaining games, we've got to find a way of breaking teams down. That's the only criticism I've got today because the referee, he's a thief. Simeone's a disgrace. But the thing about it is that revenge could be, coming our way next week. But that's only if we're more good in possession, especially when we get press resistant. His team selection next week is going to be very, very, very interesting because he's got to get his team selection right next week because Atleti are going to be no different. In fact, they're going to be even more cynical. And if you give Atletico an inch, they'll take a mile, especially at the Emirates. Because I think what we've seen today is that defensively, they're very, very organised, which is a Simeone team is normally anyway. So, yeah, still a lot to play for. We've got home advantage, but we've got to make the home advantage count next week.
Yeah, facts. Yeah, facts. I was shocked that you didn't bring on Sorloth. Yeah, because that game was crying out for Sorloth, yeah. And I'm shocked that you played Griezmann 90 minutes, which tells me, next week.
He's probably going to play Sorloth.
Griezmann's bench, Sorloth is a massive issue, bro.
So I think they're going to place, because what's happened is that they're not going to be, we're the mini ones having the ball. Oblak's going to hit the ball long, so he's going to say to Sorloth, you hold it, and he's going to get
and Alvarez
to play off him.
Or Giuliano.
What's happening is that Sorloth has not got the pace of Alvarez, but the thing with Alvarez is he's very much of a, he plays a bit like Carlos Tevez. He plays a bit like Tevez, where he's a street footballer like Tevez, but he's one of those things where he would run those channels. He would work hard. Yes, he's a bit selfish. Yes, his decision making isn't the greatest, but when it comes off, he's a bloody handful, and that's what they're going to need is to be able to hold the ball up, which means Gabriel's got to make sure he wins his possession and gives the ball to like I said, Saliba, and make sure they actually pass accurately because what's going to happen is those second balls, if we get pressed again next week and, we lose like I said, the second ball challenge, then, they can make some inroads. But, team selection's got to be the best. But let's be clinical because at the end of the day, it's too close to call. When you get a semi-final, you're going to find that Atletico Madrid are going to try everything. There's going to be some dark arts, time wasting, and God forbid they get in front.
Yeah, facts. Kenny Ken 1972 on Insta. I was going to go live, but I'm not. Miss Moldova's just dropped up. So I'm not going live.
You need to leave a message to your fans. Because
I've just told. We're out. Check out my fan cam. Make sure you follow Kenny Ken 1972 on Insta. What you got coming up, bro?
Well, I'm doing something with DJV tomorrow. We're doing our extra time show. So obviously we're going to talk about this, and obviously we're going to do a preview of the game against Fulham. And then obviously I'm going to go to the game against Fulham. We'll do our fan cam as usual. And it's going to be one of those things. But as I said before, defensively we look a bit better. Midfield there was a bit of control. But the problem is that we're going to have to utilise the whole squad because it was very telling that when the tempo is raised, Arteta made substitutions pretty early. He probably knows that some of his players can't play the 90 minutes, especially at that intensity. So squad rotations, it's got to be paramount, especially in these games. And that's where Mikel's got to earn his dough now because he's got to find a way of keeping his players fresh. He's got to find a way of getting some goals. because goal difference could be proved paramount in the league, and I think getting a goal next week could prove paramount. If we don't score, then it's extra time penalties next week. We don't want that,
On that
do we?
bombshell, make sure you follow Kenny Ken 1972. I'm out. Kenny's out. He'll be there against Fulham and against Atleti.
And against West Ham. I'm
And
at
against
every
West Ham.
I'm at every game in the UK, home and away. So from now on, you're going to see me at every game. I'll be doing my broadcast from at the end of the game. Someone's asked me to do some half-time analysis at games. Very tempting. I might take them up on it. Depends what the public want. It's up to you. If you want an half-time analysis on my show, let me know. If not, we just stick to what we do best, which is team announcements and post-match reactions.
Which I'm about to share. We're out. Love. Layers.